Well, yeah, well, I would say maybe life is a continuous crisis.
It never ends. I thought at 50 now you relax. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I am joined by a gentleman who recently turned 50 years. He'll introduce himself and tell us life at 50, what it looks like, feels like, tastes like, all things beautiful at 50. Karibu sana. Please tell us your name. I don't like introducing people here, so tell us who you are and your background.
Okay, thank you very much, Murugi. My name is Eric Kathenya. I am, well, first of all, a Kenyan, if I can put it that way. Many things, okay. Entrepreneur, writer, and, well, many other things, yes.
And you recently just turned 50.
Yes, in June, actually.
In June.
Yeah. In
So that says the same happy birthday right now.
Well, no, it's okay.
Very happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you very
Life
much.
at 50. How was it? What was the feeling like the days preceding your birthday and after, and that just general season? What was going through your mind at getting to 50, if you may tell us?
Actually, I started thinking about life at 50. Maybe even when I was 45, okay. That's when I started turning 50, right, so to speak. And so actually when the day came, I had actually thought about it a lot and what it means. It's quite a milestone. I remember the first person who I had turning 50 was my head teacher in primary school. And so those days people used to retire at 55. So I had this guy is already 50. I was like, wow, you can live that long.
It was looking old at that time.
50 just sounded old.
Do you feel old?
Well, not exactly. The body is not as it used to be. But the journey in my late 40s, I'd say prepared me for those eventualities. You go to the doctor and you do a check and they tell you your cholesterol is rather high. So in fact, I remember one time I went to Nairobi Hospital just going for a routine check. And so when I saw the doctor, she didn't even want to talk to me. You know, she gave me a bunch of drugs. And I asked her, is there any other way of managing this? And she didn't want that conversation. You have to take these drugs.
Was it that bad?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think it was really that bad. But I had gone there for a different issue. Yes.
How old were you at that time?
That time I was 45. 45, yes. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that at 45 you really started thinking about getting to 50. What made you start thinking about that? What prompted you?
Well, I can say I started life rather late. Okay.
What does that mean?
I got married at 40, right? So that's what I mean. And then at the same time, I lost my job at 41. 41. I didn't turn 42 yet. So obviously that was, I had worked for 16, 17 years. And then all of a sudden you find yourself without a job.
And talking about, now that you've told us you started life rather late,
Yes.
I don't think at 40 it's really late. I mean, we're approaching 40 and I feel like, oh my goodness, it's still young. It is still young. So how did you reinvent yourself at 40? I mean, you've lost your job, you're getting into a new job at 42. Yeah. You started a young family at 40. Yeah. You have a young family at 42. Yeah. how do those dynamics now play out, and how do you start planning yourself now that you're almost reaching 50?
50. Well, so what I did is when I got a new job and at Kenya Power, and so of course I hadn't worked in a government institution before, so I started learning about working in government, and I'm not so young again, but then I was looking out for opportunities. All right, you know, Kenyans believe in side hustles.
Yeah.
So I was looking for what side hustle can I do that now that I have a young family that will pick me up in case of course I'm going to retire at 60 and the family is still young. So how do I manage my obligations even after retirement? So I started thinking of starting a business, all right, apart from my job. Yes.
And how has that, at 50 now,
Yes.
how has that panned out? How is that coming along? And have you managed to plan for your young family still?
Okay. Actually, that's now the story. So what I did is I actually thought about it. I had worked at Strathmore University for most of my life. I spent 12 years at Strathmore. I was quite passionate about education. So I decided to actually start a school. I decided to start a school. Well, my attraction to the school was not just as a business, but also as giving back to society, in a sense. And well, education has many outcomes. All right, you nurture souls, you nurture people, you nurture families, because the vision of education that we had at Strathmore, and it's still there, is an all-round education involving families, parents. So you're educating the whole lot. So actually, when I got to, I started at when I was 45. That was 2018. At the end of 2018, I had done my research. I got a premise and I rolled off the school. But I started as a daycare. I started from the daycare side. Then that was, so I began the school, I began in January 2019. Then a year down the road, 3 months down the road, COVID struck. COVID happened. And it totally changed the business environment. People lost jobs. You couldn't get clients as fast as we couldn't onboard as fast. So last year I ended up closing.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up closing the school and focused on other things. And well, just for a peace of mind, actually, just to have a peace of mind and see what else I could do. Of course, I had mortgaged my future. I had sunk a lot of money into it, borrowed money, which I have to repay without the benefit of the business bringing in any money. Yeah, of course, because when you borrow money, you hope you'll invest it, and the investment will pay back. I needed to secure my future. That was the thinking. And secondly, I think I got attracted. I got attracted to the idea of that education can make a difference. All right, can make a difference in society, can make a difference to people. And I just didn't want to open any other school. All right. I wanted a school that could offer an all-round education, right? And I think CBC was a good is a good system. It's a good system if implemented well. Yes.
And now speaking of now that you closed the school,
Yeah.
and that's in a sort of way it's a loss.
Yeah.
At
loss.
50, how are you handling loss as opposed to when you're 20 and you're 30? How are you handling loss at this point, and how are you reinventing yourself, because still at the end of the day you still have to continue with life and life has to move on and you still get something out of it? How are you reinventing yourself after that?
Well, actually, I must say that I first had to heal. Okay. Because actually, the other thing that happened when the business didn't happen, my family also broke. So that was a double tragedy, so to speak. The business has gone and the family is broken. But I would say in the last 1 year, I've been on an healing journey, and yeah, I think I've healed I've healed and I'm moving on. One of the things I want to do, actually, I've started doing is I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book on the school and how businesses collapse and why they collapse, and what the lessons I've picked from it. So actually, I think the writing is helping me heal some more.
It's therapeutic?
Yes, it is. It is quite therapeutic. Yeah.
What are the lessons that you've learned through the losses of school, finances, perhaps even family? What are the lessons that you've learned till this point about life in general with the circumstances that you've gone through?
Well, a lot. First of all, is when you're at a point of loss, right? You need to share. Sharing is very important. All right. And in fact, I remember one person who has really come through for me is my mom. All right. And when I realized things were not working out, I didn't reach out to her first, but eventually I had to, and she's there. She's the one who has been there for me. Even this late in life, sometimes you ask yourself, no, you're 50, and still your mom is the one who comes through for you. At that stage,
moms are always constant.
Yes,
yeah.
They say that only mom's love is true love. But at that stage, you're like, I'm the one who should be supporting her. She's in her 70s, and I'm 50. So who should be supporting you? But yeah, as you say, moms are always there. So that's going through that process has actually brought that out very strongly. The importance of a mother. Yes, that's one lesson.
For somebody who's going through that kind of season of loss, apart from sharing, what else would you tell them to do? And I'm coming from a point of where men, sometimes it's said, it's a notion that men don't really share. Unlike women, we can be in our chamas, we can be with our girlfriends, we share a lot. I don't know, do men share that much? And coming from that perspective, where should men seek cover? Where did you sought your cover in your mom? I don't know who else, but for men going through that.
Okay, actually, I would say I was socialized differently, right? In the sense that I embraced my Christian faith quite strongly, and I was taught that you need to share, you need to have a mentor. Yeah. Okay, I would not say that strictly speaking I have a mentor, but the importance of sharing was ingrained in me, especially when I worked at Strathmore. One of the things, I was a mentor. at Strathmore University. So every student at Strathmore is assigned a mentor. So the education is personal. So from that experience, then even as a staff member, you also have a mentor, all right, or you have somebody to speak to. Of course, it's all very voluntary. Okay, you can't be forced into these things, but that was emphasized, the importance of having somebody you can share with. So, but yeah, it's true that men have that problem of sharing. It's somehow the way men are wired, and it's also the way we are socialized. Yes. Yeah.
What is life like at 50? Is there any crisis?
Well, yeah. Well, I would say maybe life is a continuous crisis.
It never ends. I thought at 50 now you relax.
Oh well, it has thrown me a curveball, so I have to deal with it. But I've also realized it's my life. It's what it is. I have to live it. Okay, so I'm taking it a day at a time, and I still have obligations which I have to meet. So I have to figure out how do I meet these obligations. So yes, life has handed me lemons, making lemonade, and yeah, I have people who are helping me. But apart from my mom, I have very strong friends and family that are sticking with me. So I'm not walking it alone, but at the same time, I'm the one who is living it. So yeah, I have to figure out how to do it.
And looking now at 50, how would you say you've morphed over the years, from your 20s, 30s, 40s? How would you say you've grown as a person? You've changed as a person? What are the things you've left behind? What are the things you've picked? Just talk to us about the morphing of your life at this point.
Oh, okay. Really, have I changed? I don't think so.
I'm sure there are things you've dropped, there are things you've picked. Don't lie.
Maybe life has happened on me. All right. I would say that has happened. I mean, we've had, for example, I've worked in the media space, and there's been disruption. So, and in fact, one of the things I remember let me take you back a bit, in management, the first thing I learned in management 101 was the only constant thing in life is change. But I've been asking myself, did I really understand what that
change means?
What that means? Or did I think it applies to other people, other things, but not to me, you see? So did I really understand that lesson in class, that the only constant thing in life is change? So yeah, there's been change and perspectives on how life is. I never imagined that at 50 I would be starting all over again, as it were, because you think life is supposed to progress. You're supposed to build on it, from a graduate, then life you build on things, but mine hasn't been that way. So at 50 I'm beginning again. And but I think
you're beginning again in what, if you may be clear?
Well, first of all, I have to figure out how to manage my obligations. I have kids who I have to take care of. I have money to pay back
for the business that was lost.
For the business that was lost. So I have, as I told you, I'm actually, no, what do I do with what I have in my hands?
What was the situation like a few years back when you lost the business? Things were just not working. Create a scenario for us. How bad was it?
That was actually last year.
Oh.
It was last year.
Okay.
It's not, last year is when I decided, now this business, I need to put it down. Actually, late last year, it's when finally the decision came.
Sorry if I may ask, the family as well?
Yes, yes. Family was early last year. And you know, that's the toughest bit, because you are working hard, you're doing all these things for the family. So when it doesn't work, then you're at a loss, right? The family gives you an anchoring, gives you direction. You're working towards securing it. So when it's not there, then you are like, what's life about? What's all this? What am I? Because if I didn't have a family, I would not need to start a business. Really, I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about what's life about,
Mhm.
what's life about right now for you? What is it about? What is 50 about and going forward?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, what's 50 about? That's a tough one.
I'm sure you have something to say.
Yeah. It's about living. At the end of the day, it's about living. How are you prepared for tomorrow? How do I prepare myself for tomorrow? How am I living today now? All right. I have a job to do. I'm thankful for that. But then I have to ask myself, I'm retiring in 10 years time, more or less. So how do I prepare for that? So I would say for now, I'm in that season of preparing for my retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And how are you going about doing that at this point?
Well, I have to think, what do I do? All right. What do I do so that I'm ready to retire? And so that's why I mentioned, actually, I think I've rediscovered that I have to write. Okay, that's the writing project. The book I'm writing is part of that preparation.
Eric, you've talked about you're now writing a book. Is that a plan that you want to take into your retirement? Is that a retirement plan? What's the plan with the writing?
Well, I can say what I've invested most in myself is actually writing. Okay, and it always it's something I'm interested in. So yes, I hope from when I write this book, then I can write many other books later. Yes, so it's something that I like doing, and it's something I hope to grow more than I've done so far. Yes.
Having turned 50, what are the, say 2 top lessons, 5 lessons that you would say you're carrying with you at your midlife point? Lessons of life.
Lessons of life. Well, first it's life is what you make it. Right? Life is what you make it. It's nobody will actually do your life for you. You are the one you are the author of your life, so to speak. All right. And secondly is actually the importance of faith, okay, or even lack of it. Our faith informs our values in life. So what values do you carry, and what values do you help you live life, all right? So for me, values are important, and people need to examine what are their values. I don't think it's something that many people do, all right? That because values inform how we live.
What would you say are your proudest moments? Highlight of your life at 50. One thing that you would say, I think with this or that, I am very proud that I achieved that or I did that.
Okay. No, actually, although I've talked about the failure of the school, I actually am proud that I actually took the step to start it and to lay the groundwork. Whatever the outcome, I'm actually happy that I actually underwent the process. I put it out there and try to do it. Yeah, so it's a moment of reckoning. It was a moment of reckoning for me. That yeah, I actually invested in it and learned. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets at this point in your life?
Regrets? Actually, not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. Yeah.
What does the next phase of your life look like? What would you want to achieve? What would you want it to look like? What are you aspiring to do in the next 10, 20, if God blesses you, 100 years? What does that look like?
I think one of the things that moves me, that motivates me, is to be a good father. All right, to raise my children and see them grow and thrive. So I think that's what I see as my mission in life. Actually, yes. It may not seem very ambitious, but I think that is what it boils down to. If you listen to, I've listened, okay, to people who have held high offices, run big businesses. There was a CEO of, he's called Chisler. He moved from Ford to Chisler, and he said his only achievement that you'd count as a big achievement is that he raised his family well. I think at the end of the day, that is what matters when the guns of life go silent. Yeah.
And how are you ensuring that you raise your family, or your children for that matter, well? What are some of the things that you're putting in place?
Well, actually, after trying to ring-fence life, it hasn't happened. But yeah, I want to see that if I can secure if I can secure myself financially, then and provide for them and education. The other thing with kids is you realize kids have their own lives. All right, I'm sure you are a mother. Maybe it doesn't dawn to you that they are living their own life. They're creating their own story, their own history. So when they go to school, they're not going to school because for mom. They go and they have their friends and their own life. They live their own way. Yeah. So it's just like having a bird in hand, and you let it fly. Yeah. Yes.
Are you happy?
Am I happy? Yes. Yeah, you wanted to ask on a scale.
No. I'm not going to ask on a scale. Generally, with everything that has happened, with the curveballs thrown at you, what would you say about that?
Okay.
What would you say about happiness in life? How do you how does one get their own happiness? Where does it come from? Is it from people? Is it from money? Is it from family? Where do you get your happiness from?
Okay. Happiness is an inside job. I think that's even a cliche now. But
Raha jipe mwenyewe.
yes, it comes from within. I'm happy that I can come here and share my story. So I think that's a good thing, that I can do me. Yeah. So yeah, despite everything, I am happy. Yes, I am happy.
Great, great. So Eric, as your parting shot, what would you say you've discovered at this point in your life are the most important things in life or about life?
First of all, learning never ends. You're always learning, and you always learn new things, all right? And you should actually flow. You should flow with it, all right? That's what I was talking about. Change is only a permanent thing in life. So I've actually, from becoming something I learned I read in a management textbook, I've actually come to, I've felt it, I've lived it, that the change is actually the thing, right? The other thing is, I have a community, right? I have friends. I see friendship being bashed a lot in social media to some extent, but no. Our friendships, friendship is very important, and relate well with everybody. Yeah, have strong relationships. That's important. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Eric. I appreciate your time and the lessons that you've shared with us at 50. I mean, you only look quite very young still, and you have more years ahead of you, and I wish you all the best as you navigate the next, hopefully 50 years of your life.
Amen.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I sure have learned many things from our guests today. Life does start at 40. Is it 40? At 50. At 50. And despite the curveballs that are being thrown at you, you still can restart, you still can reinvent yourself. Life is not over. Make, as the cliche goes, you make lemonade out of the lemons you've been given. Until next time, please share, like, and subscribe. See you on the next episode.